Hello, this is Charles Reinert coming at you from Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, and you're listening to Downbeat with the Blue Band, the official podcast of the Pennsylvania State University Marching Blue Band. Hello, welcome to episode 3 of Downbeat with the Blue Band. We are sitting here with Dr. Drane. He's from Miami, Florida. He has a bachelor's degree in music education from Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida. He has a master's degree and PhD in music education from here at Penn State University with research interests in Black American contributions to American music and education. And he's the band director for the Blue Band here at Penn State. So thank you very much for coming with us here on the podcast, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I can't tell you how much of an honor it is to sit down and talk to someone of your stature and someone who does something so traditional here at the university.
I am humbled by your statement. In my mind, I'm just the band director.
Just the band director. So let's just hop into the questions I have for you today.
Okay.
So when did you become the band director?
So I became the head band director in 2015, right after Dr. Bundy, my predecessor, retired. And so I applied and I was awarded the position.
And why did you want to become the band director?
Well, that's a great question. I had never imagined that I'd be the director here, at Penn State. I was the graduate assistant for a couple of years back, started in 2002. And then I became the assistant director in 2005 and was here for 10 years, and I was just, in my mind, preparing myself for a job like Penn State. And then the opportunity presented itself. So I went for it, and here I am. So I still pinch myself every now and then that I'm the director of the Penn State Blue Band.
So how did you get into music as your career? Like, what made you want to choose music as your career?
That's a great question. Even my earliest memories of music, of course, in childhood, singing in church, being a part of the church choir. And I just always felt it was always a part of my life, whatever I was doing. I was even a DJ in my teenage years, so DJ parties and stuff like that. And then I got to be a part of the band. In middle school, I tried out an instrument, I tried saxophone, and just kind of went from there. I recognized I was good at it. And then I got to college, and of course, my first thoughts is finding a job that makes lots of money. So I was a business major for my first year. And then I remember speaking with my mentor, and he said, "Hey man, you want to have a job that you wake up every day excited to go to." And really thought long and hard about it. And I felt that was music. And so, got my degree and switched my major to music education and decided I wanted to be a band director. I wanted to be a music teacher.
Do you come from do you have any musical family members?
Actually, most of my family is into athletics. So I was the one who kind of went the road not taken. And so that was kind of unusual. But then turn out my siblings, I'm the oldest of 4, all of them had music as well, throughout grade school and also in college. So all of my siblings, they played an instrument and also sang. So we had fun family gatherings, if you could imagine.
I can only imagine, yeah. Do you think music is something more people should pursue?
I think so. I hear it all the time when I tell people that I'm a music educator. They always say, I played it 1 year in the 5th grade or 6th grade. I wish I would have kept to it. And I'm always like, you can do it now. Mm-hmm. I think music is a part of us as human beings.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
And it's another form of expression. The feelings that we get from it, listening to it, but it's the feelings you can get from making music. I think folks, some people get so caught up in the formal education of music that, don't realize, there's a lot of informal education as well that goes into this. We're hearing music our whole lives, engaging in it in different ways. And I always encourage folks to make music, and it doesn't matter if you can read music or not. That's not the point, but get out there and make music and express yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I've been playing guitar since I was 10 years old. Uh-huh. So whenever I play in front of my friends, they always say, "Oh, I wish I could learn how to do that," or I can never learn how to do learn how to play an instrument.
Right.
And I just say, yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's not that it's not going to be hard. Like
Uh-huh.
anything you try to do at first is going to be complicated at first, but with
Yeah.
practice and with trying to be better at it,
Yeah.
you can be better at anything. And it's not just about being good at the instrument itself. It's just about, like you said, expression.
Yeah. And I hope I don't put myself out of a job when I say this, but there's so many tutorials out there on the internet.
Yeah, you can teach yourself nowadays.
Yeah, so even for me, there was 1 year, I wasn't making music as often as I wanted. And I said, hey, I want to learn the ukulele. So I picked up a ukulele. I got one for my son, and we would learn tunes together and playing the ukulele. I need to pick it back up, so don't ask me to play. It's been a while, but it's just been enjoyable. I would set aside like an hour or so, like every 2 days, to just play the ukulele, an instrument I knew nothing about, and express myself that way.
So let's backtrack a little bit and talk about your passion to be a musical educator.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think music should be more prevalent in school curriculums and should be more like widely taught in schools in general?
Oh, I totally agree with that. Not to get into all the politics and philosophies of education right now, but I think all of us can agree that we see such a trend focused on, I believe, what they call STEM, the science and mathematics and things like that. I think that as a result, the arts often get left out.
Yeah.
But again, like I say, not going too much into the philosophy of education, but that was a part of the American educational philosophy, was to educate the whole person.
Mm-hmm.
So not just English and math and social studies and things like that, but also teaching our students how to engage in the arts, how to express themselves through the arts as well. And again, just going back to my philosophy, I think that that's what inherently makes us human beings.
Yeah.
In that regard. So yeah, I wish there was more focus on it, but I have no control over that part.
Yeah.
So I do what I can with who I can.
Well, learning the arts just uses a whole different part of your brain too. You know? You use one side of your brain for math and science and social studies, and the other part of your brain's for expressing yourself.
I see it all the time. With a lot of students who are in the medical field or going into the medical field. They're still engaging in music, because it's a release. I always hear students say that. I taught a concert band, which was comprised of non-majors. And of course, at the end of the semester, finals are tough and weighing on them. The students always come to me at the end of the semester and say, this was such a release for me. From the academic rigors. And I think that we all can use that, even in our regular work day, to just have that release, to be able to make music and listen and engage with it. And so that's just my thoughts on the matter, but I don't make any of the policies.
Yeah. I totally get where you're coming from. And I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you being the director of the band again.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the most rewarding experience of being a director is?
The most rewarding experience is seeing my students graduate. It's a great feeling, because no one goes pro in marching band, so I recognize that this is just a part of their experience here and in school. And so seeing these students obtain their ultimate goal, which is to come to Penn State and get a degree, it makes me happy, and I'm glad and grateful to have an opportunity to be a part of that during their time in band or even in the music classes that I teach. So seeing students graduate, I get so excited about that, and I'm sure my students will tell you, there's always at some point they're gonna hear me ask, "How are your classes going?
Yeah.
How's your academics and how their GPA is," even though I can check that.
How would you say for a student who wants to be a member of the Blue Band,
Mm-hmm.
how would you say that benefits them as a college student?
The thing about here at Penn State, it's an extremely large place, extremely a large amount of students, physically big campus, beautiful campus. But once you join the blue band or even join the athletic bands, you have an instant community, instant family, people who want you to succeed. And so I think that's the great part about it. You don't really know it, but you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's so awesome to see it happening, because I literally get to see it happening each day. I get to see the relationships form between the people that are in the band, and so I think that is huge. Coming to, if you're no matter where you're coming from, you're coming to a brand new environment. You don't know, the lay of the land, and after joining the band, you've got some friends that are going to say, hey, take this class, not that class. Take this teacher, not that teacher. Or, hey, you might want to take that 8 a.m. class and things like that. So all of these folks around you that are supporting you and encouraging you to be your best self.
So would you say that there's an added pressure every season before football season begins to be better than the previous season?
Yes, there is. And I say it at the end of every year. I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to top that? Because the organization just keeps getting better and better, and that's a part of the challenge. I think it's added pressure on myself that I place on myself, trying to navigate and figure out, what's the best ways for us to improve. What's the best ways for us to continue to push forward and have the better version of the blue band the next year, with a completely brand new set of people, brand new set of personalities, brand new set of motivations and things like that. So I think there's pressure there, but mostly I put that on myself.
How's the band bouncing back after having what happened last season, like with coronavirus and having to do social distancing and do things virtually? How's the band bouncing back from that?
Well, we'll see in the upcoming days as we approach the start of the season. I can tell you that I am seeing lots of excitement from our students, from our staff, from our fans, and everything to gain back some of the things that we lost in the 2019 season. So I'm eager to see how we will bounce back, but the engagement is there. I'm excited about those things. We're a little rusty in some areas because it's just like, hey, we haven't done this in 14 months, which is a lot longer layoff. So right now we're all working together and getting reacquainted with some things, as you will. And for me personally, I'm calling it from the couch to blue band camp. So trying to get myself personally ready to be able to take on the rigors of a normal season.
What would you say the most challenging aspect of your job is?
The most challenging aspect of my job is communicating. We have 300 students with, who learn in so many different ways. I have a staff of 15. And when you add up everybody from the announcer all the way down to the photographer, so communicating with them, then also communicating externally outside of the organization with our fans and our friends, communicating with my administrators, so there's so many stakeholders, engaged with us. And also it takes all of that for us to be successful. So everybody has an investment in the blue band. And so coming from me being able to communicate, my vision and direction that I would like for us to go, and also where we need assistance, and also where we need help and things like that. So it's a lot of communicating. And sometimes we all know, it's hard enough between, two people communicating effectively. Anybody in a relationship can tell you that. So there's going to be times that there's miscommunications, and misunderstandings. And when you add that volume of people, it happens more times than you like, but that's just a part of it. And you try to pick up and keep going and moving in the right direction and go from there.
So you mentioned earlier that you've been doing this job for a while now, and you've been part of the Penn State Blue Band for a while now.
Yes.
What is your favorite memory of being a member of the band, or do you have like any favorite games that you've been an attendee of, or anything along that?
Of course,
Along that idea?
so many memories. I can tell you about one of my first experiences. I believe it was 2002. I think we played in Nebraska, and it was a night game. And I had never seen a Penn State game in person, and that was one of my first experiences. My jaw was on the ground the entire time. I was a graduate assistant. I don't think I fulfilled any of my responsibilities that day because I was just in awe at everything that was happening and what was going on, and so many people there. So that's one of my first memories. It's hard to categorize it into favorites, but I do have memories that stand out. I can tell you one of my favorite games was the Big Ten championship. Oh my goodness.
2016?
Yes, that was so much fun, if you will, because I remember we were in the stands, and of course, we weren't playing as well as we thought we would. And the band was getting ready to go on the field, and I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, because we're not doing well. Of course, morale is going to go down.
Oh my, yeah, that game was wild.
Yeah, right. So morale was kind of low as we were going, preparing, getting into the tunnel to come out onto the field. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to impact, how we play. And sure enough, there was a touchdown thrown right before the end of halftime. And I'm personally like, yes, this is going to lift the band's spirits, and they'll play even better. And of course, that happened. So yeah, we were all pumped in the tunnel, and we came out, and the band did an awesome performance. And then I remember getting back in the stands, and the team was just on a tear.
That was one of the craziest Penn State games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I was watching that with my now roommate back home because we live near each other back home.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself at halftime, like, yeah, I mean, they got the touchdown there, but
right. It's we got a long way to go, right?
Oh man, that was a crazy game.
So from my vantage point, I was in the end zone, and I remember one of my assistant directors was standing next to me. I saw how we were lined up. We were at the goal line, and I said, it's going to be a wheel route to Saquon.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And he looks at me like, how did you know that? And I'm like, you can just see it's about to happen. And so we had so much fun that day. And that was also a really special season for us. So that's one of my favorite memories, that Big Ten championship game.
What was it like being out in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena?
Oh, man, that was so... Every Big Ten band wants to go to the Rose Bowl. As they say, it's the granddaddy of them all. And the Rose Bowl bowl game committee, they treat the bands as if we were the football team as well. And I remember being in a meeting. You have a site visit, and you have all the administrators, from each team. So you have band directors, football coaches, and Director of Ops, our deputy athletic director was there. And I remember one of the teams asked the question, hey, can we be on the field at this time, this and that? And the director of the Rose Bowl was like, no, the band will be on the field during that time. He was like, well, can we change that? And he was like, no.
It's
and
incredible.
I was sitting there with a little smirk on my face, like, yes, the band wins one, but they treat the band exceptionally well. And then, of course, there's just so much going on. And then that Rose Bowl parade.
Yeah, how did you prepare for that?
Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you. So the challenge of going to a bowl game is that actually the band is off for almost 3 or 4 weeks before the game happens. So we're not practicing. You're at home. You're having your holiday meals, and eating home-cooked meals with your family that you haven't had in a while. So, of course, there were some concerns there if we were going to be prepared. So as a group, we kind of all committed, and we were checking in on Facebook with each other and saying, hey, let's try to make sure you walk 2 to 3 miles a day. And so, I know a lot of us prepared for it because it's a 5-mile parade. And you hear that, yeah, that's a large number, but actually doing it, because the parade kind of stops and starts, if you will, and you're not going at a normal walking pace. So, it takes almost 3 hours or so to do it. So we kind of prepared by at home, making sure that everybody was doing a lot of walking, and fortunately, we didn't lose anybody in the parade.
That's good,
which was a good call for us, because then after that parade, we got to play the game. So it's a very, very long day that you got to be in shape for. But it was an awesome experience, great experience, and I'm so glad to have had the opportunity to do it, and looking forward to doing it again.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you mentioned earlier you play saxophone, and you taught yourself how to play ukulele.
Yes.
Do you play any other instruments?
So I wish I played the trombone. That's my favorite instrument. I wish I played the trombone. So I do have a trombone at home that I pick up every now and then, and I am absolutely terrible at it, but I love messing around with the trombone. So that's one other instrument, I guess you can say, that I do get to play. I mean, of course, fiddle around on the piano every now and then, but nothing that I'm sure any elementary student on that instrument could perform better than me.
So as a musical performer, who would you say your biggest musical influence is?
Oh man, I don't know if I could say that. I love any artist who pushes the envelope musically, who challenges their genre and who expands their genre. So I'm just always looking out for anybody that's doing that currently, or even who've done it in the past.
Do you have a favorite genre of music?
I do not. A lot of people ask me that. I don't have a favorite. I listen to any and everything. I just like hearing new music. It might be old, but it'll be new to me. So I love asking others, what songs they're listening to, what music they're listening to, and then I go check it out to see that. But this summer, I've kind of been listening a lot to Zydeco or New Orleans jazz type of music, and so there's a couple groups that I'm listening to right now. The brass bands, my favorite right now is the Rebirth Brass Band, the Hot 8 Brass Band. And so I've been listening a lot to that kind of music this summer. So it'll change next summer. Yeah. I'll find something else to get hooked on for a little while.
Have you ever gone to a live musical performance that really stuck out in your brain and you still remember to this day as like one of the best musical performances you've ever seen?
Yeah, I have. And I wasn't a big fan of this artist, but I took my wife to a Beyonce concert. And I was in awe.
She's talented.
Yeah, at what she was doing musically. I was just blown away. As most, contemporary artists, of course, it's more the theatrics and things like that. And I'm overgeneralizing, but I did not expect to hear what I heard. And that one sticks out in my mind vividly, because it was, musically things were there, and then visually the artistic approach that she took visually was really, really cool. So I enjoyed that live concert.
So as the band director, do you have any favorite Penn State songs or any favorite formations?
No, not really. I mean, of course, I like to hear Fight on State. We call it our touchdown version, because that's the version we play when we score a touchdown. So I like hearing that one because that means something's really good has happened for us, and hopefully we're on our way to the team winning. So I like hearing that Penn State song, when we score, but not necessarily any formations or things like that. As I write some of the halftime shows, so therefore there's things that I've liked, and of course, like, hey, looking forward to the next one. Hopefully I can be as creative as this last one.
So for one of my final questions for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you more of like a fun question.
Go for it.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. Oh my goodness. So I absolutely love movies, right? So I watch a lot of them. My favorite movie. That's a tough question, but I'm gonna go with Lone Survivor.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I heard it's really
Oh,
good.
it is absolutely intense. You're just watching this guy go through all of this stuff, and for him to be able to endure through those things. So that's kind of an inspirational movie for me. I know it seems odd, but that's kind of an inspirational movie that I do like. I pull that one off the rack. Well, I'm dating myself on the DVDs. Now you could just stream it, I'm sure. But I pull that one off the rack every now and then to just watch that one all again.
Do you have any other final thoughts or any final comments before we finish things up here?
No, I'm just excited for this upcoming season to see how things turn out. This 2020 season, of course, a lot of folks, we want to, we can lament on the things that we lost this past year, but we're really looking forward to the things that we're going to regain in the 2020 season and coming back. And I'm excited to bring the family back together.
Oh yeah.
For us to be able to engage with one another. That I'm really looking forward to that.
That's a feeling I'm sure a lot of people sharing right now. It's
Yeah.
gonna be really nice to have the band back in the stands and have everything, as close to normal as we possibly can in a couple of weeks once the season kicks off again.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to being back in the stands. It was odd this year sitting at home watching the games, and of course my brain is like, you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be. So being able to watch the games there, watch them live. Interesting fact, even though I'm at the game watching it, I'm really like not watching it. So every Sunday I rewatch the game.
Yeah.
That's part of my Sunday tradition. I always record the game and make sure I watch it the next day to catch all of the things that I missed in the game. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting back to that routine.
That's a cool little piece of Blue Band trivia right
yeah,
there.
Yeah, everybody's like, you didn't see that? I'm like, I don't remember, because I'm paying attention to so many other things, such as what song to play next, to engage the crowd, into the game. So I'm looking at different things during the game, not as much as many of the details that's happening right then and there. So it's always cool to go back and I watch the game later and see some of the cool plays that I missed and things like that. So,
all right, well, thank you very much for coming with us today on the podcast. You've been a great guest, and this has been a very interesting conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and hope you have me back again.
Oh, we absolutely will. Yeah. This has been episode 3 of Downbeat with the Blue Band. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.